At this time, I'd like to welcome everybody to my YouTube page. I think I'm at 540 some subscribers right now. Like I said previously, it's not really a big deal to me about how many I have, because if people want to learn, then I'm here to teach you. If you follow me on Facebook, I have a lot bigger following on there. One of the things I'm always on there is on my hunters page, Yakima Nation Hunters Gatherers, and I'm always putting pretty cool stuff on there too every now and then. So if you want to check that page out along with my Facebook, and more than welcome to hop on, because I'm more active on that. So today I was asked, I kind of randomly just was putting on there what would people like to learn, and it was how to can elk. So I did one on how to can salmon. I think it was smoked salmon. I think it was that. And it's kind of a tedious process trying to make sure, because after you watch the videos you're like, oh, I forgot that, or then someone comments and then you're like, oh, that's right, I did miss that. So I felt kind of hesitant to do it, but I've been asked several times to show, because I'm always canning everything. It's one of the things I like doing. So today we're going to can elk, and I'll try to shorten it up a little bit, and like I always do, I start talking and then I start talking more and more about other stuff, so try to stay focused. So first thing you want to do is, I always use half pints, and right now because of the epidemic it's kind of been pretty tough to find everything, including bullets. It's like, good luck with that. These are kind of like that too, and at one time when I found somewhere at Target online, I found them and I ordered a whole bunch, like a bunch, and had them delivered to me. It was something like 20 cases of half pints. I do a lot of canning, so I think I knocked those out pretty quick. But anyway, so I use half pints. The reason why I'm using half pints is because the amount. I was using pints and then I wasn't eating. There was always leftovers, and you know, when you're up in the mountains or you're fishing and trying to eat your leftovers from there is like, it's questionable. So I've moved down to half pints, and I find that I eat all of it, and I'm not wasting as much. One thing too is when I'm canning elk, is that I normally use the rough parts, the trim, the leftovers, anything like that too, but most of the time it's the calves on the elk, because it doesn't matter when you pressure cook it, because it's just going to it will just, I don't know, I'm going to say dissolve or loosen or make it tender. So, well, the first thing I always will do is, of course, you're going to take off your lids. And I'm trying not to do this to where I'm banging around. And then you're going to, I put them in my dishwasher. There's other ways. I know everybody has their way that are going to stumble across this little the algorithm will pop up in, and then you're going to be like, oh, well, this is how I do it. And I get that. I get it all the time, so I'm cool with always listening to what other people have, long as it's constructive. Lately I've been dealing with people, I try to delete them as soon as I see the really bad comments or negative comments. So yeah, but if you're constructive about it, I enjoy it, and I like to learn. So one of the ways is this. I will just do this. I could use hot water too. I think I've done it before. When I didn't have a dishwasher, using a hot water, and then I just put vinegar in it. So right now what I'm going to do is just take the lids off and then I'm only doing 2 cases. Normally I'll stretch out 4 cases, because that's normal for me, is to do 4 cases. But today it's only 2. Because I don't want to sit here and spend all the time on doing the jars and then all the cutting and all that other stuff. So I'm just going to finish this case up, and then I'll do it here later. So I'm not sitting there. I find myself, when I'm watching my own videos, fast forwarding a lot of it. Like, it's like the content is there, but then it's like, God, even I don't want to watch all this. Like, it's repetitive. But then there's sometimes that I do videos because you need that repetition in to doing them. It's like you got to see it over and over and over. And right now I'm kind of working on different angles. So like putting a GoPro down so you can see it this angle. Maybe putting another GoPro on my head or something. So there's different angles so you can kind of see it. Because like I said, a lot of people think I'm left-handed because I just learned backwards. I don't know. It's like a dyslexia. But it's not. I don't understand. I don't know what it is. And then here I said. So here I said I wasn't gonna do this. So this will probably be the fast forward part of the video. Yes. So one of the things too is I'll put vinegar inside of this, and then I'll just wash them, sterilize them for. I think it goes for about an hour. Something like that. I just don't want to throw those all into the pot because when I'm talking, I think the food saver is the other one I always do, and I'm talking when the food saver is going and you can't hear me, so kind of pointless. Right now I also have already put my pressure cooker on with the water in it and then add vinegar. So now I'm warming it up. Normally I'll start that first. It's kind of like cooking, like when you're cooking something. All the stuff that gets cooked really quick and it gets done fast, you save that for the end. So, and then all the other stuff that takes a long time to get cooking, you put that on first to get it started, so that it all finishes all at the same time and warms up. It stays warm. Same process as when you're doing this. That has to be on first before. It's kind of like I start doing all the prepping for everything else. So. Alright, so that being said, I'm finished with that, and I'm going to add my vinegar. I'm going to close this, add about, wait, oh, hold on a second. Okay, so I added all that, my vinegar, into there, and I'm going to let that sterilize. One of the things too I kind of wanted to let everybody know is that I've been working really hard at just starting out at YouTube, and I really did think it was going to be an easy process to where everybody's just going to jump on and follow me, kind of like Facebook, but that hasn't been the case. I don't know whether it's the content or just the algorithm with the process of YouTube, but it's a creature within its own. But I started out, just a little background because I'm kind of excited about it. I got sponsored into one of my YouTube videos, got seen, and I'm not sure if I can able to identify them quite yet. I shouldn't have started a dishwasher yet, but I was able to obtain a new Mac to just start doing my editing. So I'm starting to do all my editing by myself, and that's that cracks myself up on that too. So when I get there, I will tell the sponsor, and then of course I'll share with everybody the randomness, I guess it was, that he found me through there through YouTube, and then linked onto my Facebook, and then now I'm getting all these things through this grant, and it's pretty cool. So I'll continue to show everybody my 500 and some subscribers, because I'm being successful, even though it's in a little way. It's really big to me. So okay, so now we have our jars in there in a dishwasher getting sterilized. That's always one of those things with me, sterilization, cleanliness. Same thing here. So we're gonna put these all in there. I'm trying not to bang them around. To a big pot. This is what I do my salsa with. And so I'm gonna put these all in there, and I'll fill it with water. And then we're gonna sterilize that for about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm gonna put, and you guys see me ever measure anything, you know that I don't, it's always like this. So alright, so now I've got my lids in there. I'm gonna add water, and then I'm gonna boil them, and I'll get some pictures of that. And so I'm gonna set this to the side right now, move my water, because the water is what I'm going to fill my jars with. And I'm going to lay down one of my towels, because I've already have the jars already. Now you want to use a crummy towel. when you're doing this. And I always will say, don't use a table or a surface that it's expensive table or anything like that. Try to put several towels, a blanket or something on there. What is it called? I can't think of it right now. But find something. Normally we'll put layers of towels down on here too when we are putting our glass, not our glass. Yeah, our glasses out, our jars out. So in this case, I'm gonna set this to the side too. I've already done these, so to kind of speed up the process to where we're not sitting there watching the boring stuff. I guess we can start over here, and then bring them down. And then I gotta get my little funnels. I gotta bring those out too. So it's important that you always wash your lids off when you're finishing up, or your rims, that you wash them off or clean them off so that they're not all messy with food and whatnot. And I'll get into that later as we go along. Try not to skip too many steps. Like I said, we're doing only 2 cases tonight. And I used to brown the meat before, and then I could not believe how many questions I was getting asked by that. To me, it was just being safe. Like, it wasn't a big deal. Like, and everybody's like, oh, that's an extra step. You're taking forever. That's not how you do it. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, but at the same time as we all do different things, so I was like, I just started skipping it after way. I was just like trying to brown the outsides of it just so I knew I was safe, so I didn't get botulism or some. I kind of mellowed out on all that stuff lately. So, alright, so now we have that. I'm gonna fill up the water. I've already put all my lids and everything inside here, my lids. So I'm gonna add some water, and I'm gonna boil these too. So it's not really that much. So I don't want to add too much more. It'll take forever warming these up. And then I'm gonna add my last of my vinegar. Actually, I gotta go get some more. And well, that's probably good enough. I'll add my vinegar. Now I'm gonna set this on top of the stove, and I will be boiling these. Alright, so that's on the stove. My pressure cooker with the water inside of it is preheating right now, and it's getting ready. So now we're getting down to cutting up our elk. And I'm not gonna I'm gonna hang on a second because I start touching stuff. I don't want to be cross-contaminating things. So, but one of the things I always add is carrots, potatoes, peas, mushrooms, onions. I always add all sorts of stuff to it. I enjoy eating taking all this time into doing, because this is a process. So one of the things I always have to have is my kidney beans. Or these are my pinto beans inside. Well, pinto beans it is. I just got to remember, because kidney beans is always one of the things I always put at the bottom. So when I'm getting down to the bottom, I have some. This one I will have pinto beans. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to I was going to try to Alright. I feel like I'm talking over that. So back to where I was. I noticed that too in my other videos, that I was always outside and I forgot to turn the air conditioning off, so then I have the air conditioning running while I'm trying to talk. And then it's something that it's like when you hear something in the song and you just can't not unhear it, and it's just like, oh. So I'm trying to have less focus on less distractions going on in the videos. Alright, so I have my pinto beans, and with me it's not too much. I don't want to get down to the bottom and need a whole bunch of pinto beans, but whatever. Carrots and potatoes, mushrooms for sure. I like adding those in, but today I'm making it really simple, trying to keep it simple. But I get asked about that too. I put corn in there a lot because we have a garden, so I always add jalapenos, corn, anything like that too. There's nothing wrong. It's almost like a stew by the time I get done with it, but that's fine. I mean, if you're not into any of that stuff, then don't do it. Don't put anything in there. Just put your elk meat or your deer meat or your cow. What was else? Pretty much any of your meats. This is what you're gonna do. That was kind of well, I'll kind of. That's good enough. I was gonna say that was an overkill, but no, I have to put it back. So one of the things too is that now I'm gonna pull up the sleeves. To get started on cutting. One of the other, let's see, nope, never mind. I was going to add something else, but I really don't have to. So in this case, I'll use a fillet knife to cut my meat just because I like the long slices that are being cut or whatnot. Oh yeah, I was going to grab mine. And this was actually a piece that I was doing jerky on, so I'm going to get my funnels. I was almost prepared to do this. So now a lot of times people will talk about slices and whatnot. It doesn't even matter the trim if you feel like doing it. I don't know. My slices are fairly big. I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time cutting down to little pieces. I mean, if you want to do that, then that's up to you. But then I'll just put them in there. And one of the things too is when you're doing it, you don't want to fill it all the way up jam-packed, because when it starts percolating and does all this other stuff, you don't want it popping or the lid or anything, so it doesn't take. So I always stick to right at the brim. I always just use the line as my guide, so I don't mess it up and have it cram packed and then make a mess. So that's about where I stay with that all the time, no matter what I'm doing. My fish is the same way. Anything that I'm canning, my salsa is all done the same, by the same measurements. I start getting uncharacteristic with what I'm doing, and then it kind of fall apart. So I already have pre-cut done up, so we'll hopefully get sped up, unless you guys want to sit here and watch me cut up a bunch of elk. Sometimes it's alright. I don't mind watching people cutting. I think sometimes I learn new cuts. It's kind of a, what is it called? Relaxing, kind of. Sometimes when someone's just sitting there cutting and then I'm watching them, it's meditate. I can meditate watching them. It's just relaxing. So I don't know, maybe that's the case with some people, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm talking too much, so. But it's important to have your little funnel too, because once you have your funnel, it kind of saves you from making a big mess on the rims of it too. So I probably have actually enough to do 4 cases. I was really trying to be over prepared than not prepared, and I always will forget something and then I have to get up. Or doesn't hurt to like kind of pack them in. They'll loosen up either way. Now always have your paper towels with you too. I always like And that's one thing I already forgot was my paper towels. So I probably spend about an hour just trying to get ready. It's like you forget all the things that you're trying to use to process all this stuff. So this will probably be part of the video. I'll go a little bit quicker so we're not. But I kind of do. I might not actually, because this is one of those things that we're doing over and over. But it might actually be okay to sit here and watch. Oops, that one I'm gonna have to mental mark that. That one, I think I got some. I was gonna say blood or water or something on it. So I'll have to make sure I really wipe that one down. That one too. Getting there. I think I might have come pretty close to nailing it. I don't think that one had any pin to it. Oh, it did. And my lids are starting to boil a little bit over there too, so taking them out, and then you gotta be careful too because it gets hot. On the home stretch. Alright. Almost about a handful is what meat what I'm grabbing is what's filling right to where I feel comfortable with. My measurement is right around there. My last one. Getting lazy. Okay, so I got those all in there. I'm gonna take that out. Alright, so now I'm gonna go grab my lids, and then I'll bring them back over here after I clean up my area here a second too, so be right back. Alright, so I know I kind of got my jars a little bit out of the screen, so I kind of fixed it back up so we're back on track. So it might kind of look funny for a bit. So now the next step is I put a little bit of vinegar into my lids. I boiled them about 10-15 minutes. I don't know, somewhere right around there. Sterilize them. And now I'm going to dump them out. I've already strained them from all the water and everything too, so I'm kind of skipping a little bit of steps. I don't know if they need to be a how-to kind of step, so I guess you can ask me if needed. So I will take these out and dry these off. Dry my lids off. That's probably a good thing why I didn't do so many, because normally I'll do a lot, and then that takes forever too. Is the little steps they accumulate as far as time goes. So taking these out, the lids themselves, I guess we don't need to sit here. Just kind of dry these ones off. And most of the time when I put them down on the towel, that dries one side, and then, or you could do it both ways with the towel, flip them over. Then you gotta watch out for that when the lids are, that water is hot, so when you're opening them up too, that happens, that pours out and they're still really hot, so be careful on those. You don't want to get burned. Or I think the main part is I always open them up over my lap, and it hurts for a bit. But those are one of those things too, just be careful on. You don't want to burn yourself. There's probably a better way to do it where you could just do like an air dry cycle or something, or strain them out and then I don't know. I've always done them this way. I don't even think I've seen anything different for other people that have done them either, so. Okay, so we got all of our lids out. Pretty much everything's dried off, ready to go. So now the next step will be, so before I forget, is just to go around the brim, and then just make sure that for most part these are all good, because I looked at them earlier to kind of save time too, so I'm not sitting here. And I got the two that I was stressed out about. And for the most part, I cleaned them all up. But just to give you an example, like if it's really messy, then just take them and just get them cleaned up individually, one by one, like that, like so. And then these are pretty clean. This one's a really short jar. I didn't realize that. There's hardly any meat in it. I don't remember what I did with my funnel, so. But oh, I took it back over. We'll fix that though. We'll get a couple more pieces of meat in there. I can already see somebody asking about salt and stuff. I don't tend to mess with the salt. I'll put maybe like half a teaspoon in there or something if I want salt. For the most part, I just use salt when I'm in the field or excuse me. I can't remember if I was coming back this way or I think I was. That happens, just start over. These are I already have these ones done, so. But we get the point, right? Now we're just gonna put the lids on. We don't have to really stress too much what's right now at this point. We're just putting the lids on, so I always like to do things kinda, sometimes I think it kinda gets me, it bites me, and I think it's just to keep my brain from being bored. But like I'll do things like no certain pattern, I guess, or anything. So, but then sometimes I find when I get out of the, I guess, the monotonous, then that's when I'm making more mistakes. Does that make sense? Like when I'm trying to stay like busy and not get bored, I make mistakes. But when I just sit here and do the same old thing, that's when I'm not making mistakes. So I guess when I change, I screw things up. So sometimes we'll get like bounce around and start doing one side, then I'll forget one. I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to say. But it's all just up to you how your system is what. One of the things that you're gonna come up with is a system of the way you want to do it, where you feel comfortable. A lot of times when I watch people, that's how I am immediately. I'll pick a couple things. I watch YouTubes and I'll pick a couple things out and then from each video. I'm short one. I wasn't even. Well, that's weird. Let's see. Do I have two on them? Nope. Just one's on all of them. That because it's weird. I was like, just talking about mistakes. Well, there's my mistake. Alright. So now, when you're putting the lids on, I was showing one of my friends, and she once you put it on, she tightened it really, really tight, and they didn't take. Oh, we gotta. You know what? We gotta back up. Or do we? No, we're good. Let's just say like there's a lot of air pockets in these, then we can add some water. We can add a little bit of water. So like but for most part these are okay. So, but if that's something that you're having problems with too, like this one probably could use some water. You can add water to fill the gap too. And then all you have to do is like take a fork and then push it along the side of it, and then if it's really pushed in there compact, and just add it in there. And then that way too it helps it from becoming a bobber and floating around. So I'll just do a couple of the ones I think. But that's another thing you can do too if you feel that it's in need of that. Maybe this one too. This one looks like it needs some water. And you don't have to put a whole bunch, but most part they're gonna. Alright, back to what we were doing. Put our lid back on. And like I was saying, you don't want to tighten these, like cinch them down to really tight. You just kind of want to like give them a crank. So once you give them a crank, then I always put my finger down on the middle of them and then just kind of take my time and a little crank. And then because I think what she did last time, she just really tightened them and then they didn't take. So you don't need to like really do them hard. So this is more of a finesse. This is probably one of the parts too where if you're making a mistake or something's going wrong, just to stop, back up out of it and redo it. Because this is like, you put all this work into doing this. There's no reason to like, oh, like rush through it and say, I'll just, whatever. Hopefully it takes. So, and a lot of times when you're doing, even when I get 2 or 1, like I'm like pretty upset. I'm like, God, it's like I did everything right and then there's still one not taking, or something's going on. So you could add your salt in there, your Johnnies. With this I probably wouldn't even use it, not even close to a teaspoon. I'd just put a dash into this. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. To me, I'd rather add it later. I'm not a big salt person, so I don't have to have a bunch of it. I guess it just depends. Some people put garlic in there too, or pepper. I don't know. Let's see, what else is something? I guess those are my main go-to seasonings. If you really want to get try something too, you could probably add some liquid smoke in there. That'd be another thing you could do. Instead of water, you could add some liquid smoke. Give it that hint of smoke. That's one of the things I do too. I'll throw some liquid smoke in here. Hickory smoke's what I use. You can get it on Amazon and by the gallon. Just depends right now. I can't even give you anybody prices no more because of what's going on right now. Who knows? I could say one thing, then the price will be absurd, and you're like, you liar. But I always try to buy stuff all the time when I see it go on sale or some sort of bulk sale. I always will try to jump on that and then take advantage of that. sometimes too you gotta be careful because they seem like they're bent when you're smacking them around too. So you gotta always be careful. I'm on a roll today. I was just gonna say, like, what the heck? But it's this one. This will be my fourth one. I was like, now I have an extra ring, but I don't. Oh. Okay. All right. So now I'm just gonna wait for the water to start bubbling. One of the things too, let me see, is that you can order. I'm using a muffin tray to haul my stuff over there, so you can put them in there and move them all over at once. Same way with taking them out. Be using the muffin tray to do this. But you can go online too and order your canning trays. I'm just trying to think of what they're called, but you can order them and they'll fit. So you can get the half pints, whatever you're moving around, you can order that one too. So okay, so right now we're gonna wait for the water, and then once it gets boiling, then we're gonna move everything over and then put it into the pressure cooker. So be right back. Okay, now I'm going to bring over my jars and I'm going to start loading up. So I know everybody likes to use the jar holders, but I'm about the tongs, so it's faster for me. And I have this filled up more so I can make sure I have the right amount of water. So if it starts getting a little bit too much water, then I can just take it out. And then, because what I've done before is I didn't have enough because it evaporated, and then I had to add more, and then it was like I had to wait for that water to warm back up, and then so that's one of those things you got to be careful on too. So I'd rather take water out than put it in. It slows everything down. I try to be careful too, not banging them around too much down there. One thing I try not to do, but I end up doing it. So you can see it's kind of filling up and I can take it out. I don't mind that either. It's not, it's going to speed up a little bit. So then I'll put the next ones on top of that. Concentrating, try not to mess anything up. This is like your home stretch, so it's like if they start bobbing too, that's when you should make sure you add water. That's what we don't want it doing, because then they'll be banging around and hit each other and break. So be careful. If you see them starting to float, then take them out, redo them. So that's kind of about where I want that water to be anyway, so I don't want it to evaporate out. Okay, so now we got that where we want it. I'll leave that there because I'll use that when I take them out. So now the next step is just to put our lid on. Of course the arrows are there. It took me the longest time to figure that out. There's the arrows here, so they match up with each other. So you're not spinning everything around for a long period of time, I guess. And then the only thing is I have my pressure behind, but I will know that I'm gonna drop it down to lower it down anyway, so it's not getting crazy hot. So then our next step will be taking the jars out and then laying them out. So we'll be back. So one thing too, after you put the lid on and everything, is to make sure, like right now it's kind of going high because it's kind of been going for a while and got hotter and hotter and probably less water, is that you want to have it kind of going probably a little less than this, where it just kind of, if it starts rapidly going really hard and loud, then you need to turn it down. It's too hot, then you're going to open it up and it's going to be or not empty, but evaporated water, and then your jars will just be sitting in there by themselves with no water. So right now, done 90 minutes, so I'm turning it off to let it kind of decompress, and the 90 minutes doesn't start until I start percolating. So when it starts doing this, and then that's when you want it to start go ahead and going. Start your 90 minutes. So it started right at 8 o'clock. So I'm actually right about 90 itself. So then I'll let it go ahead and then simmer down a little bit. And then the next step will be to take the lid off. Well, I'll kind of wait a little bit to let it settle down before I open it up and have all the air, the steam come out, to where I'm not having that compression just suck in all at once. So I'm going to go ahead and hang tight on that. So the next step will be to go ahead and take it off, let it decompress, and then take the lid off, and then listen to music to our ears. Hopefully everything works out as planned. So we'll see on the next step. Okay, so now we've finished it. We've opened our jar. At this point we're using our muffin holder. Like I said, you can order those online. Just look up the canning tray holder and then it will ask you the size you want. And then I'm only going to bring them over a little bit at a time and then set them here. Now the thing is, when you set them down too, is you want to hear them pop. So that's music to our ears. That makes it so that they have taken and they've properly been done. So when you start hearing them plink around, that's music to our ears. This time it wasn't done too hot, so was able to get them all without having the water evaporate. Now some people like to use the jar I don't know what it's called, the jar grips. That's just not for me. I find myself using my hands, two hands all the time instead of one, so I personally like my tongs. The only problem is I have the short one, so I end up sticking my fingers in there sometimes on accident. So, making a mess already. This is probably one of the should be singing here pretty soon. There's one. And I'm telling you, when you're doing this, oh, this is the best part too. Like, the satisfying part is hearing your jars go off. And this is probably the part where you want to take your phone and then do a little bit of videoing on it. There's another one and another one. And of course you want to take some photos. Some really good photos. Looks like there's 3 more to pop. Everything else is popped. But with that being said, and canning elk, this is how you do it, pretty much. Oh, 2 more. And I did just a 2 case of half pint. It's pretty much all the same. Normally I'll be running 2 pressure cookers. I think we only need, I was just going to say 1 more. I thought there was 1 more in there somewhere. And I think it's this one, right? Okay, maybe. I think we're down to almost 100%. But it's getting there. I think we have 1 more. Every time I keep saying 1 more, then 2 more clink off. So, but this is how you do it. This is how you can your elk. I kind of did a really slow / fast pace on it, so they're all going. They all just went. So I am 24 for 24 on this. So 100% took. So I took my time, and one of the things is you can't rush it. You can't take shortcuts. Try not to take shortcuts. So take your time. Really do everything correctly. If you make a mistake, back out. Sometimes I'll do extra lids and rings. Have some extra clean jars on the side too, because when I first started learning how to do this, I fouled up quite a bit. And then it just kind of always helps. Just even now, like if I make a mistake and I forget something, or forget the water, or I'm in a hurry and I'm just like, so I will always have a couple on hand just in case. So, but most of the time we'll keep rotating them in. So like right now, this one's done, I'll fire it back up, put more water in, and then start on another batch on the side of it and just keep going. And it's a lot of hard work, but it's one of those things where today's errand or next week's errand is going to thank today's errand. And it's just the mentality of stocking our shelf, or you know, for a couple days later. Normally this won't last very long, but I hope this helped you and you enjoyed the experience. If you have any questions, like usual, drop comments. Let me know if there's something that you want me to do. So happy canning.